Quickly as possible, we want to go through some of the methodology of the survey, just kind of the who, what, where, when of it. As Emma said, we deployed in February and had it open for about a month. Set to SSP member list, LinkedIn, Twitter posts, as well as a non-member list later in the month, followed up by a press release and a LinkedIn group message. Respondents we had 604 participants at first. Once we started going through the data, we realized pretty quickly that there were 62 bot responses that we had to take out. And then also 35 respondents who had 10 years or more of experience, and at that point they were asked to say thank you, but they exited the survey and we didn't collect any data from those respondents. Demographics, 68.6% female, 26.5% male, and 5% prefer not to say. Age was all over the place. Mostly with this survey, we wanted it to be about experience, because that's kind of what defines an early career professional, and not about age. But the averages we saw were between 0 and 2 years experience were 28 years old, 2 to 5 years experience was 30, and 32 years of age for 5 to 10 years of experience. Geography, very domestic, some international. I believe 60% of the international was from the UK. And then company type, a lot of publishers. We would have liked to see a little bit more of a library participant, but this is what we have. So keep that in mind as we're running through the stats. The length is 34 questions, a little long, but it really only took 10 minutes. And we had one $50 Amazon gift card that someone really wanted to add 62 bots to our responses. So to start off with experience, again, this is kind of what defines an early career professional. We asked, have you had experience in the field before starting your first full-time position in the industry? The responses we received were a little surprising. 54% of early career professionals did not have experience before entering the industry. Em and I were talking with Tara Kelly with the AAAS yesterday, and we were talking about coming into the industry and what have you, and she was saying, oh, actually I didn't have any experience before my first job, and I kind of said to myself, oh, you're actually in the majority. Following up by that, those with experience, we wanted to get a little deeper and see what type of experience they had, so we asked them to select between degree program, certificate program, internship, temp, and part-time, and the results are, I guess, typical a little bit, heavy on internship and degree program. But once we started going through the data, we realized the selections we offered were actually distinct in themselves. Between degree program and certificate program, we kind of define that as a certifiable training or education, whereas the latter three are more real-world experience. And so in that sense, only 38% of early career professionals have a certifiable training or education background, whereas 77% have real-world experience. And that kind of was confirmed with a later question in which we asked what resources that an early career professional might find useful, and continuing education certificates were the last by quite a bit. Most importantly, all of our ECPs found that 95% of our ECPs found that any prior experience, certification, or job experience led them to secure a full-time position. We also wanted to find out how early career professionals are coming to the industry. So the first question started off with what was their approach to their first job. 26% were always interested in a career in publishing, which is, I think, good. We have a quarter of the industry coming to us with a passion for working in the industry. After that, though, 21% basically typed in their job qualifications and found it on a search engine such as monster.com. So a strike against us, because apparently we're not reaching quite the amount of people we want. And then, unfortunately, lastly, the third highest response with 18% said it was a coincidence that they found a job opening. So 2 strikes against us. Focusing on the first one, of those early career professionals that were always interested, we found that 21% of them had prior experience. 6% had a degree program background, and 9% had an internship background. When we look at the other 2 options, there's a quite significant drop in experience, internships, and we found that 8% who searched a job engine to find their skill set matching to a job also later in the survey listed that I don't know where to go to learn more about the industry. Followed up with a 24% drop in prior experience of those who found their job by coincidence, 27% drop in internships, and a 10, or let's call it 11% increase in those that thought I'm unclear about my career path at this point. Industry news. How do early career professionals get their information? So we'll start off with the necessary social media question for early career professionals. I think this is pretty widely known that LinkedIn is the most used, followed up by Twitter and Facebook. This question was directed in a way that we asked specifically in a professional capacity. So in that sense, it was vague. And we followed up a little later with a more directed question: what resources do you regularly use to keep up to date with publishing industry developments? And to our surprise, 77.8% actually go to colleagues, followed up by 53% using industry events, and following just after is all the social media. So what we learned from this is that early career professionals actually want to talk to people, and they're not relying so much on social media to get industry news and events and trainings. What we did not ask in this question that we should have is we did not include an option for blogs, newsletters, listservs, emails, that kind of email alerts. But we did hear quite a bit from our ECPs from the open text dialogue. They have it 34% more likely to use colleagues over social media, followed up by 9% more likely to use industry events. So in the open dialogue box, here we go. This is more confirmed by a later question that their early career professionals are more likely to looking to meet peers in their field rather than some of the other resources available through SSP. Here we go. Through our open dialogue box, a lot of people wrote in blogs. We had websites such as Scholarly Kitchen, listservs, email newsletters, and email alerts. I like the bottom left one, lots of emails. This kind of was later confirmed by top 3 SSP outreach efforts. Early career professionals find newsletters, website, blogs, and webinars to be the most useful, which goes along with the quotes that we had in the previous slide, but not so much when we thought that they were going to people and colleagues for industry information. Basically what we thought with this is, compared to local seminars, local networking events, and annual meetings, it's tough for early career professionals to attend some of these things, mostly because travel can be difficult for any of us. There's also funding is an issue. While they maybe prefer personal engagement, e-content is more readily available, and so over the course of a year, it's much more helpful to them rather than a couple events per year. But we do find that early career professionals have a hunger for information. Asked how many times a week they read industry articles, the highest rated was several times a week. That being said, early career professionals might have trouble getting to events because of costs, and we want to know what are employers doing to inform early career professionals of the ever-changing industry news. Unfortunately, only 32% said that they have ongoing training about industry trends from their organization, which brings to mind, what can organizations do to better involve their early career professionals? So I will hand it off to Emma now.
Okay, so we were